gonna do a show here, but I'm gonna need to be left alone for a little while. How about that? All right. I got Mama Bleak came in early tonight. She is all over me. We had a cat that was missing that's come back tonight. She's ill, but she's back. So that's Miss Shadows in, and so that's good news. I'm already starting to nurse her back to health. I don't know why cats disappear when they get sick. They disappear, they die. They disappear, they get sick, they come back. I have had cats get so ill, they drop all their weight. They end up running away for 2 weeks. You think they're completely dead, and then 2 weeks later, they come walking right back into your life again, all ill and half the weight they used to be. I'm gonna have to put you out, aren't I? That's the microphone. Yes, that's the microphone. She found you guys. She found the microphone. There you go. Come on, I'm gonna go put you out. Come on. I'll let you back in towards the end when Victor starts asking, what cats do we have? Yep, and Shadow must be feeling better because she's hanging out here in the breezeway. So I don't know exactly what happened to her. I think she has not been a real healthy cat. I think she's a little bit of genetic inbreeding in this neighborhood from all the neighborhood cats. I don't know, but I tend to believe because she's had a lot of problems that she's not necessarily put together right, and the fact that she's lived 10 plus years. I mean, she's almost 10 or 10. So, hey Victor, there you are. Yeah, hey Heath. Yeah, I had a good day. As it is, we went in and we saw our new boards today at the radio station, and we talked about some scheduling for some rehearsal shows on the new equipment, and we're going to be going out there in the morning. Our show's going to go out in the morning, like 3 or 4 days, and we are going to train on this equipment, and we're going to do mock shows where we just talk about stuff and we switch everything and play everything and do everything. We're going to be doing quite a bit of that practicing and stuff so that when we do our first show on the new system, everything will work good and we won't have any issues. So that's kind of what we're doing. That's the plan. So we met with the guy today that sold my company these new boards. And they're Quasar boards, which I thought was kind of cool. Quasar is a very old electronics company, been around for a very long time. I think I had a Quasar TV when I was a kid. Quasar actually made TVs. And I used to always think it was funny that I was watching Nova on Quasar. Anyway, space joke. Anyway, so how's everybody tonight? I hope everybody finds their way in okay. Tonight a little bit different. I got some different things going on. We've got some auroras going on up there, and so you can see it just barely there in that upper left shot. And then the shot right above me, I don't know. He must have went off the air. I'll have to put something else there. Yeah, I don't know why I put Chuck Bronson there and he went off. Anyway, so further up there, that top one there, that's Aurora Borealis. That is up in Finland. Over there, the other two that are over there, those two, one is LA, one is Portland, Oregon. And it's a much smaller protest than yesterday. The cops are not showing up in force yet. And as usual, I don't know what it is, but the protests lately have been very small. And because they've been small, the violence doesn't actually get started. It's important to note that. See, it takes a certain number of people for the anarchists to begin to act. And if the crowd never really reaches 5,000 or 3,000, whatever, your anarchists will not feel compelled to go do anything. It's like the same thing on Jan 6. Um, there wasn't a whole lot of violence. There was no weapons. There was nothing like that because they didn't intend to do that. But once the crowd got so big, the anarchists in the crowd and others in the crowd, I won't mention, created a situation where they're like, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. We've got all this is on tape. Let's go, let's go. And what that is that's your anarchists out there in the crowd. And once they feel brazen enough, then they go up and they bust a window, and then it gets started. And so we're not seeing very large crowds here. See, after the Floyd riots, the Rodney King riots, the crowds were in the tens of thousands. And so it was real easy for anarchists to light fires, for instance, flip cars over. It was easy to assault a row of cops and get away without getting arrested. And because of those things, and because of all that, those riots they turned from civil unrest into riots, and they got really bad. Hey, Junior, what's up? And but we're not seeing that now because we're not seeing the numbers. We're only seeing 300 people show up. Your anarchists aren't even coming out. They don't normally come out till a riot gets good, till a protest gets good on day 2 or 3. What little bit we saw in the ice riots that one day where they burned the 5 cars, that's it. It really was. That was the only day where it escalated to the point where the anarchists began to do what they do. Hello, Deploribus. And hey, Sledgen. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You know, they do. They blend in. They'll wear whatever. They'll go to January 6th and do that, and then they'll show up at the Floyd riots and do that, and they'll show up at the ICE riots, and if enough people show up, they'll do that. They don't care about the cause. They care about the anonymity to be able to act the way they want to act. I'm sorry. I actually studied these things. I years and years ago, I was a cop and a fireman. I took classes. I learned a lot about the anatomy of a riot, and I learned a lot about crowd-controlled civil unrest. And when I look at what I see out there now, this is exactly what I see. Is the numbers just haven't been there to get the anarchists to go. Is that a good thing? Sure it is. I'm just surprised that more people didn't show up. But you have to look at it this way. I've been saying this, like the ICE riots, let's say. And don't think I'm racist because I'm discussing things in a very direct way, okay? But look at it this way, all right? The people who are here legally, that migrated here legally, that are on a work visa legally, that are working through naturalization or citizenship or on a green card legally, those people are not going to come out because they don't want to screw any of that up. So they're not going to come out and protest, regardless of how they think about it. So who does that leave? Okay, that leaves the people who are illegal immigrants. Okay, and from wherever, I don't care. That leaves the illegal ones. Well, they're not going to come out. They're illegal. ICE will round them up right there on the side of the road. So they're not going to come out. So who does that leave? It basically leaves your white liberal women, many of them with different color hair. That's what it leaves. If you notice, there's very few men in these. It's all white women. It's become this, they've become professional activists. They never get a job. They're in and out of universities and colleges, joining sororities, doing their thing. Tomorrow we're marching on the campus pro-Palestine. And then the next day it's pro-LGBTQ. And the next day we're going to put on the vagina hats and we're going to go for women's rights and the right to kill in the womb. And it's like, oh my God. How do these people live with themselves? Oh, that's right, they don't have to work. Um, yeah, yeah, Rhett. I don't mind some of that stuff, but yeah, some of these people go crazy with it, don't they? Um, yes, I knew it sounded familiar, but I would have never told you which movie. Deploribus. The Judge Parker part was from the line in True Grit. By the way, I've been asked by several people to try to read the chat that I'm responding to. So from now on, I'm going to try. If I'm responding to a direct question, I'm going to say your name and say the question and then answer it. And that way, if people are watching this on the playback tomorrow and they can't see the chat, sometimes the chat playback doesn't work. Sometimes it's not synced up. So I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to see if I can make this a little more, rounded, I guess you would say. Um, yes, deploribus. A lot of them are paid protesters. You are correct with that. They are. They usually you can tell the paid protesters because if they're out there and they look like crazies and they're throwing shit and they're yelling and they're waving their cane at the moon, those are real ones. Those are just nuts. Those are wingbats. Okay, um, that's what they do. If you pull up and there's 200 of them standing there and they all got the exact same black on yellow sign that says whatever da 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 da, and they're all there and they got the signs in 5 different colors. They just picked them up from Staples, okay? And those are the ones. And when they're out there, they're not really doing much. They're standing there going, "What do we want? When do we want it? Whatever." You know, and they don't give a shit. They're like, don't care. They're paying me $100 a day. It's not worth raising my arms up for that. So yeah, that's always amazing. And you want to know there is a, and by the way, we will get into some other things. All right, um, I'll go ahead and put this up for right now. Here's your storm. It is leaving town. It just caught the last train out of it caught the last train out of Port St. Lucie, and it is 10:08. I should say out of Freeport. This thing, it did form. It is a tropical storm at this point, and it is forecast to be a hurricane in the morning advisory at 8 p.m. Okay, so let's just ignore that because that don't make any sense. Okay, 9:30. There we go. 9:32 p.m. Okay, so yeah, 2 a.m. in the morning, it's forecast to become a hurricane. But there you can see that this is no threat to anybody. I think it's going to pass off south of Bahamas. Um, yeah. Yeah, the protests, they're being organized by people. Now, there is big protests, big legitimate protests, but we're just not seeing them right now. And so to finish what I was saying about these ICE protests, when you figure the all of the immigrants that are legal and all the immigrants that are currently not legal, none of them are going to participate. And who does that leave you with? That leaves you with your far leftist, your far leftist crazies coming out, and so you're only getting a crowd of, a couple hundred show up, and that a couple hundred women out there screaming and throwing shit is not enough to get the anarchists to get up out of bed and come on out. And so basically every day they go out, they protest a little bit. Today in Portland, you can see it's a little small there, but you can see maybe 25 protesters. I think maybe 25. And then the one on the left there, I think, is Chicago, and it's hard to tell. It's small, but it looks like maybe 15 or 20 protesters there. So again, like I keep saying, and the middle one there, I think, is L.A. Like I keep saying, the problem is with these protests. The reason that they're not getting any traction, they're not getting any focus or anything, is literally because they're not getting any crowd numbers. You know, there's been leftist things in DC and right wing things like the Glenn Beck thing in DC that got well over 1 million people show up. So it is possible to pull some really big numbers if you've got it going on. But the truth is, almost 80% of us want illegals deported. So you just don't have that big of a support base for that one. So let's talk real quick, and I'm gonna get into the interstellar object a little bit, the Three Eye Atlas. I don't have anything earth shattering, but we're gonna go through it here in a little while, so don't go anywhere. Also, we are going to go through the tropics. There's not much to talk about, but before we do that, I did want to say, I wanted to mention that if you think, oh, there's a lot of protesting in this country, it's crazy here. No, it's not. Our protesting here is so peaceful compared to the rest of the world. I got to tell you guys, holy shit. I mean, there's other parts of the world. You saw that one clip that we played that night about 5 times of they attacked those cops with recycle bins. That was a great clip. And I'm sorry, but it was funny when I was saying we're not recycling anymore. Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of funding lost. USAID has been funneling bad money overseas for a long time. Um, I agree, Dominic, but I will tell you it is a far minority. See, Donald Trump, the reason, like him or hate him, one of the reasons he's doing so well is because he is attacking 80-20 items. If it's 50-50, he don't care. Like the changing the clocks back and forth. He's not going to get in the middle of that because there's 3 camps and it's 33-30, 333. He's looking for things that he can fix that are 80-20. 80% of the population thinks it should be one way. If you can find those items, and illegal immigration is one of them. If you can find those items, those are the ones that are going to get you the most traction. They're the ones that are going to be the best for your party down the road, and that's where we're at right now. He's looking at these items that have been problems for a very long time, and we're now going to do something about it. So that's where that's at. Hey Victor, yeah, I'm wondering. I wonder if I should go live when I'm at the Atlanta Ham Fest. I wonder if I should go live and walk up to the ARRL guys and introduce myself and say hi. I run Starship Adventures. You know that channel that you guys hate because I'm always talking smack about you putts. You remember that? Yeah. Well, that's me. It's me. So what do you got to say? I want to get a mic flag for my mic. Yeah, the guy in the upper middle screen, his caption is he's at the LA ICE protests, but I think this is the guy that literally just walks around and gets YouTube hits. He puts whatever in the title, and he just walks or rides his bike around. I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot to choose from tonight, so there it is. But I'll look again here in a minute, see if I can find something else. I had Chuck Bronson up. He's a cop watcher, and he was down here, I think, in my town today. He goes by Chuck Bronson, and he basically, because his favorite actor was Charles Bronson, so That's why he goes by Chuck Bronson on the YouTube. I've got his email and his phone number and stuff, and I help him out sometimes, but not a lot. I mean, I don't know him or anything. He's a nice guy though. But that his it's at Chuck Bronson on YouTube. He's got 187,000 subs, and he lives here in this town with me. He was live a little while ago. If he goes live again, I will put him up so you guys can see his content. It's pretty good. Let's see what else we can find here. So much shit is being played as live now, and it just really aggravates me. Because it's very difficult to go down through all these clips. Is this live? No, it's previously recorded. At least they put that on there. All right, give me just a minute, guys. Wow. Shit. No matter what I put up, the moment I go live, it's something immediately goes off. Yeah, see that guy's back down there again, down there by that federal building downtown. What it looks like anyway. Okay, well this is another one of those channels called Let's Record Cops. So I'll put him up for a little while, and then I'm going to go over. I want to talk to you guys about, you know, we think there's a lot of civil unrest in this country right now, but there really isn't. When you look at it, there's really not a lot of civil unrest. Let's talk about it. Antananarivo, Madagascar. Youth protesting over water and electricity. Youth in Gen Z-led demonstrations demand reliable access to water and power and call for government accountability. Thousands returned to the street again today for the third consecutive day. Major marches centered on universities and key boulevards. Injuries and deaths reported say unrest turned deadly in places. Police used tear gas, road barricades, and some looting and vandalism led to dusk to dawn curfews. The president dissolved the government in response to the crisis today. What does that mean? I don't know. Anyway, that's in Madagascar. So, and that's thousands. People have been hurt and killed. Germany, Berlin, large pro-Palestinian, pro-Gaza demonstration. Protesters called for an end to Israel's campaign in Gaza, an arms embargo, and unhindered humanitarian aid. Police reported tens of thousands of people. Organizers claimed there was nearly 100,000 people marching in central Berlin in one of the biggest demonstrations in recent weeks. 100,000! When's the last time we saw any kind of demonstration or protest here with 100,000 people? Where does that many people go shit? Anyway, largely peaceful in main marchings reported today, though large crowds caused major transport disruptions. Earlier rallies did see injuries. Okay, here's another one. Anti-government protests continuing in Lima, Peru. Demonstrators against the president and calls for political change. Large marches and street actions documented today in Peru's capital as part of an ongoing protest wave. Protesters have been confrontational. We have no exact numbers, but it's thought to be tens of thousands involved nationwide. Italy. Yes, Italy, Europe. Widespread disruptions and anti-war Gaza solidarity actions. It's a continuation of recent large-scale actions. Solidarity protests for Gaza and wider shutdown actions targeting arms fairs and transport in multiple cities. Tens of thousands of people participated across multiple municipalities and large disruptive actions over the past days. Today still showed continued pickets and strikes in places. Disruption to transport and public services were reported. How about this? The United Kingdom, London, continued pro-Palestinian actions and related disruptions. Ongoing pro-Palestinian disruptions targeted roads and fairs and political events. Large actions earlier this month included mass arrests, smaller scale rallies, and disruptive actions continued today. Earlier mass detention events where hundreds and hundreds have been arrested have set the tone. Police remain on heightened alert for follow-up action. France, labor anti-austerity mobilizations, union-led strikes and protests against recent fiscal austerity policies. Unions have called additional days of action. Hundreds of thousands joined national action recently. Union leaders announced fresh demonstrations today, and they continue in parts of the country. Large demonstrations have occasionally led to clashes with police in hotspots. Today's activity was mainly organized strike action and rallies. And then, of course, and that's around the world. And in this country, localized demonstrations tied to immigration enforcement policy, federal immigration enforcement actions, and policy changes spurred protests in several cities. Chicago, including Portland, Los Angeles, and others in some regions. Mostly localized mobilization from dozens to a few hundred at specific facilities or downtown areas. Local reports indicate arrests and a few scuffles at some sites. State leaders are publicly debating deployment of guard forces in response. And then finally, Chicago, Illinois, Broadview, Illinois, metro area, anti-ICE demonstration escalation today. Protests targeted ICE facilities and federal immigration enforcement actions, activities deemed transparent and humane treatment. Multi-day demonstrations with several hundred protesters at key sites over the weekend, actively continuing today with heightened federal presence. So there you go, guys. I mean, it's not just LA, and it's not just, we're not getting it here. In other parts of the world, it's a lot worse than it is here in the United States. And it's all different stuff, as you noticed there. There was a common theme, the pro-Palestinian protesting, and that's just because of Jew hate. I don't really understand that. If anybody can explain it, call me. Yeah, Europe is having a real rough time. Europe went to open borders, and now Europe is lost its identity. It's losing its culture. It's incredible. It's crazy. Yes, it is true. The numbers of these protests, you have to look at all the different numbers. Charlie Kirk, there's a good example. Charlie Kirk. We had about 100,000 asses in seats for that event. There was 76,000 over here, 22,000 over here. We had just about, including staff inside, we probably had about 100,000 asses in seats. And then they're saying there was that many more again outside. They're saying it was attended by about 200,000 people tried to get to that event. But yet CNN will report that yeah, it was yeah, there was a lot of people there. I mean, it's like you didn't report the fact that only half the people that made it to that area of the world, only half of them got to go inside of even the backup venue. So, yeah, who reports it is very important. If you have uh, if you've got the left wingers rioting, the left wing media is going to report it a certain way with a certain skew. The right wing media is going to report it very differently, and it goes both ways. Yeah, so that's, you just have to always, there's always a bias in reporting. Um, all right, so let's see. I'm reading to see what's going on. Why is that, Heath? Why do we not why do we not see any pro-Palestinian protests in Poland? Let's see. The number depends on which news. Yeah, that you're completely correct on that. Um, yeah, it is my 100% belief that the Charlie Kirk funeral had 200,000 people that attempted to attend, and there was probably many more that gave up along the way or couldn't make it happen. Hey, Coco, I didn't see you there. Yeah, it's getting bad over in the EU. So there's a lot going on, guys. I mean, it's not just here. I kind of wanted to do that because I wanted to show you guys that it isn't just in this country. It's happening all over the place. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about the that atlas. This is the third interstellar object that we've ever known. And it was first reported back on July 1st, 2025, by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile. Because of that, it got the designation 3I Atlas. 3I meaning the third interstellar object detected, Atlas being where it was detected first. Um, The orbit is hyperbolic, meaning it's not bound to the sun and thus came from outside the solar system. They can tell when something's coming in if it's something that left our solar system 1,000 years ago and it's just now returning. They can tell the difference between that and something that is coming in from outside the solar system. Um, It has an orbit eccentricity of is very high. It's above 1, underscoring its interstellar origin. It's not on an approach that something would have if it had left here and was coming back. It's expected to reach the perihelion. It's the closest point to the sun around October 30th. At approximately 1.4 astronomical units, or AUs. Remember, 1 AU is the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So it's going to pass the Sun. It'll be not quite even as close as we are. It will not come very close to Earth. Its closest Earth approach is expected to be about 1.8 AU. That puts it really far away from us. That's almost twice the distance from here to the sun. So that's pretty far. puts it so far, it's going to be hard to even see the thing. At the time, it was about originally 4.5 AU from the sun when we first started tracking it. It is visible now to large telescopes, but as it approaches the sun, solar glare will make its observations even more difficult than it is now. It's traveling rapidly at about 152,000 miles an hour. That's 152,000 miles an hour, according to some estimates. Its inbound velocity relative to the sun is far higher than typical solar system comets. Again, it's coming in hot. If something left the solar system, it would not be coming back this fast. It just, because of the way it has to be slowly turned around and come back, you generally match the velocity coming back that you had going out. That precludes it being from this solar system. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very tired tonight, but I'm trying to do this here. The new observations from the Vera Rubin Observatory suggest the diameter is about 7 miles or 11 kilometers as a likely value for the nucleus. Earlier comparisons and speculative estimated range more broadly, because it's hard to tell because you get a coma that forms around it and a tail, and all that obscures it and makes it harder for us to see. And so they really weren't sure how big it was, but now that it's gotten a little closer, we're getting some better readings of it. It shows a diffuse coma, a cloud of gas or dust, in many observations supporting the idea that it's going to be comet-like. What creates the coma is the heat from the sun creates the surface of the rock or whatever it is begins to sublux. When that happens, it off gas. When there's this off gassing that happens, it creates a small atmosphere called a coma, and then that coma is slowly ripped away. That's called a tail. It kind of looks like a tadpole or a sperm. All right. Anyway, ultraviolet imaging with the SWIFT has detected OH emissions on 3085. That it's indicating water. That they do believe there is water associated with this comet. A recent polarimetric study showed an extreme negative polarization branch. It reached 2.7% at small phase angles and an inversion angle of 17 degrees, a combination not seen previously in other comets or asteroids. Again, a foreign body moving through here. These properties suggest the surface and dust properties may differ from the ones we find here in our solar system. So see, this thing's not reading like a typical comet. It's not, the sensors are coming back and saying, I don't know. Observations recovered from before the official discovery were found from archives of Atlas telescopes and the extended observation baseline back to June 14th. That's pretty cool. They did some open scans of space, and they actually captured this thing, and these pictures sat there until they went back and dug them up, and sure enough, it was there. So even though we didn't see it technically till July 1st, our cameras actually caught it back in June, on June 14th. We had a camera that caught this thing, so that's kind of interesting. Because of its strong CO2 dominance, high eccentricity, and hyperbolic trajectory, theorists suggest it may have formed near a CO2 ice line region in a parent star system. Some researchers posit that interstellar objects like 3I Atlas could act as seeds for planet formation in protoplanetary disks, bringing material to young stellar systems. That's interesting. This thing could have, even if it's not intelligent life, like we keep thinking it's a ship or this and that, it could just carry the seeds of life, which is, a lot of people believe that's how we ended up on this planet, was after everything started moving down here with the tides and all that, that comets brought down our original ancestors. I don't know. Let's see. A controversial hypothesis argues that because of certain unusual traits, its retrograde orbit nearly aligning with the elliptic plane, its brightening behavior, and its trajectory all lead to the fact that it could be possibly an alien probe or technological object rather than a natural comet. Critics caution that observed anomalies can often be explained away by natural phenomena like outgassing thresholds, dust dynamics, and thermal effects, and that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And of course, that's always your scientific poo-poo at the end there. But it is true. This thing this thing has many characteristics that seem very unusual, and so it's definitely worth watching. Um, Obviously, if you're betting your own money in Vegas, you're betting it's a rock, but it could be something else. Um, it's going to be so far away, we're not going to get a good look at it. We don't have any spacecraft on that side of the solar system that can get a good look at this thing. Um, yeah, Genesis? Yep, you're right. Yeah, and he said it sounds like the Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan Genesis bomb, and that was the it was basically a torpedo that was created by Carol and David Marcus, and what it did was when you detonate this on the planet on the surface of a planetoid or other lifeless body, it would create the Genesis wave, and this wave would go all around the planet, basically turning it into a lush planet with mountains and water, and it was pretty cool. The graphics, when they showed that in Star Trek Two, when they showed that Genesis, where you flew over the planet and the planets, that is a neat piece of film. You remember, you know what I'm talking about. At the time they made that, that was the largest piece of CG that had ever been made. It was expensive too. Um, yes, well, Q brings Picard back to the primordial slough in England, where all life began, and he showed him. He said, "This is where life began," there was even a moon. I do believe they referenced the moon, because if it wasn't for the moon and the tides, it wouldn't have happened. Oh, it's getting hot in here. Uh, yes, terraforming. Terraforming might be possible, but it's the size and scope that I don't think people grasp. If you wanted to terraform Mars, it would take hundreds and hundreds of these stations, and then you would have to have you'd have to have the scientific know-how to turn one thing into another thing. Like, let's say we could dig into the ground on Mars, and we could take the rocks that we dig out of the ground, okay, and we could put them through a process that turns those rocks into oxygen and nitrogen and carbon dioxide and all the things we need for an atmosphere, and we could just literally dig out parts of the planet and use the dirt, the sand, the silicate that we are digging out of the planet to turn around and create oxygen and create atmosphere. Because remember, the biggest problem on Mars is not the air, it's the lack of air. There's only 1% of the atmospheric density on Mars that we have here. And it's believed that that atmospheric density was bled off over the years due to a smaller iron core and less gravity. Remember, Mars has a fraction of our gravity. It's not like the moon where you're bouncing around. It's somewhere in between. But yeah, Mars does not have full gravity. And it's believed that over the course of time, any atmosphere it would have slowly bled off into space because of the fact that the iron core is not big enough to exert enough gravitational force on the air to keep it here, to keep it on the planet. Total Recall, that's a great movie. That's a great movie. And yeah, this was all about terraforming Mars. It was. That was all what that movie was about. Yeah, boy, we're covering. See, that's what I love about science fiction, because when we talk about what's going on in science fact, no matter where we go and what we find and what we do, we find out that science fiction's already been there and done that already, and it's pretty cool. I do believe that one day we may terraform Mars. I don't think it's that out of the realm of possibility. We have to get over several humps. We have to get over the fact that we can't control gravity. If we could control gravity, then we could lift large things up there and just send it to Mars. We could lift entire platforms with buildings already built, lift it up there, push it to Mars, lay it down on the surface of Mars, and boom, there's your city. All it takes is our ability to control gravity. Once we can use electric forces to null the rate of gravity and to null the effects of gravity, then we can just literally build a moon base, float it up there, and land it on the moon, and there's your moon base. Could you imagine? That's the first big one that we have to do in order to be able to do it. And then the second one is being able to convert matter into energy and then back into matter again. Doesn't have to be a fancy transporter, doesn't have to transport matter. That's still going to be hundreds of years away. I'm talking about the ability to turn silicone into oxygen. It's not as difficult as I think people think it is. All we have to do is be able to turn the material that we find on Mars into air pressure, into oxygen, nitrogen, atmosphere, so that we can slowly build that pressure up and make it a Class M planet again. Because I think it was at one time a Class M planet, just like Earth. So anyway, there you go. There's my long one. There you go, the Las Vegas Sphere. Boy, I've heard some shit about Vegas lately. The prices have skyrocketed out there. One of my bucket list things was to go to the big Star Trek convention out there. That's out. That's out unless I suddenly start making mad money somehow. Which I'm not one of these people that sits around and waits for that to happen. This segment's brought to you by Mountain Lightning. All the caffeine, half the price. Oh man. Can't believe Chuck's not live. Huh. Well, to finish it up, Three Eye Atlas poses no threat to Earth. Unless this thing fires thrusters and starts changing course pretty soon, it's not going to happen. Um, it's going to be at 1.8 AU at its closest pass. 1.8 AU is almost two times the distance between here to the sun. So this thing's going to be way, way far away. It's going to come really close to Mars and several other planets along the way. That's why some people think they purposely came in at a way to stay really far away from us, but yet come really close to three other planets. Jolt Cola, double the caffeine. Yes, yes, Heath. I understand that point, and there is. I mean, you can't argue with the facts. No, I don't think so. Jupiter's pretty far out. Mars is pretty much on its own orbital path. There's really nothing that close to it. What an incredible waste of money that sphere is. If they're making money with it, they do shows inside it. I don't know. I think Vegas is becoming a waste of money. Um, I watched a video of a guy that said he just got back from a Vegas trip and he's never been fleeced like that in his life. And he said, everybody charges a fee now. There's a fee for this and a fee for that, and a baggage fee and a handling fee and a transfer fee. He said they fee you to death, they nickel and dime you to death. The cost, everything costs twice as much now than 2 years ago, and it is bad. And I've wanted to go to Star Trek Las Vegas for a long time. It's kind of been a bucket list thing, and it's probably not ever going to happen now because it's just it went from being just outside of my price range, which means I probably could do it if I really tried, to like being ludicrous. So I don't know. It is what it is. All right, so that's what there is with that. They haven't pinned down the rotation on this thing yet. Uh, and the nucleus composition, of course, they don't know what that is. Internal structure. And they don't know the parent system origin either. So, not not a lot to be known there. Yeah, yeah. Well, Vegas has been a phenomenon, and it's had several heydays where it did really, really well. But COVID put them all in debt out there, and they're all trying to climb out of it right now. And unfortunately, that's not working out too well because it's just pricing everything out. Yeah, that Star Trek Las Vegas is one of the biggest conventions in the world. They'll get several hundred thousand people come through, and it's a 5 or 6 day event. They generally have big names there. Bill Shatner will be there. Um, they've had very big names come through there that are there all the time. Um, they had on the 25th anniversary of Deep Space Nine, they had everybody except Avery Brooks, because Avery really doesn't do much with it all. But they had the rest of the crew. You could get your picture taken with them all. Um, I I like to meet the stars. I like to get if I can, I like to get a signature, but it's not that big a deal to me. I just want to go and be a part of the event. I want to see the vendors room. I want to buy a few things. I want to sit for a few of the panels. Um, they got they'll have at that convention they'll have two or three uh, speeches at a time. Like they'll have the main stage, and then they'll have the second stage, and then they'll have like the Roddenberry stage, and there'll be something. It's staggered out. Like every 10 minutes, there'll be something else starting on one of the three stages, and they have talks about everything. Talks about new Trek, old Trek. They'll have a guy that did the lighting on the original Star Trek talk about the lighting on the original Star Trek. I mean, it's just it's stuff like that that if you're a super fan like me, it's something that you can really deep dive. Um, yep, and then you know, there's a lot in Vegas that's gone out of business, and even with all that, it's still everything else is having a hard time surviving right now. By the time I pay for the flight out and back, and I pay for uh, the year I was going to go, we were going to the Rio. Uh, by the time I paid for 6 nights in the Rio, and I paid for the flight out and the flight back, and I paid. Now I hadn't figured in food, and I hadn't figured in transportation there, because we're not getting a rental car. I don't think. We were saying, okay, we can if we do without the rental car, we'll just Uber. You know, and they got trams and trolleys and buses. Um, I think a rental car is just going to be a pain in the ass. So we started figuring it all out. What else do we want? What do we need? What do we? And just the Rio and the tickets to get into the event, and the plane travel, we're up to $4,000 or $5,000. We were gonna get $5,000 already, and that's a lot of money for. It's not even a week long trip. I couldn't do it. And then that was the year. That was believe it or not, we were supposed to go in 19 in August of 19, and we had put it off to August of 20 because uh, we didn't quite have the money in August 19. But I was doing good. We were all doing good. We figured we could easily save it up by August 20. Well, guess what? COVID hit uh, between the time that we didn't go and the time we were going to go. And so we never went. And now that trip would cost me double what it would have cost me back then. Yeah, I don't gamble, Victor. It's not my thing. I don't like it. My money stays in my pocket where I know where it's at. I'll play raffles. I played a raffle with my local club, my local ham radio club here, and won a $400 generator. I mean, I do. I will play raffles, but I don't play the lottery. That's just government gambling, and I don't. Whatever. Oh, purgatory. I don't care about none of that. Um, Vegas is what it is. You know what it is when you go there, and you know what you're getting. Um, Boy, it's certainly in purgatory for a lot of people. I don't think I'd want to live there, but I certainly do want to visit there. But I don't gamble, so it won't be about that for me. It'll be about I want to go. I almost just want to go by myself because I want to do nothing. I want to do nothing but Star Trek stuff. I just want to basically go there and just do nothing but Star Trek stuff. Uh, yeah. Well, I get it. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's not really for me either. But I've never been there, and when you've never been there, um, it's you want to visit. You want to see what it's about. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Like I said, I just want to go there for the big Star Trek convention. Yeah, Sludgeon, I don't know if you've looked at those prices this year. Oh my God, dude! I've quit looking because oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, BS, BJ. I don't know if I'll ever make it out there. Um, yep, I will. No matter where I go or what I do, I'm taking you guys on the adventure. You know that. Showgirls equals money. Yeah, I hear it's interesting. I've never been out to the desert, and well, actually I was three. We went out to the desert, but technically really haven't been out there. I think it's neat. It's 120 during the day, and it's 50 degrees at night or 45 degrees at night. It's pretty cool. Um, there you go. Look, we'll all meet up and we'll go. Um, I have no idea, Deploribus. I don't know because I wouldn't go out there for a ham thing anyway because there's I can go to Hamcation in Orlando or this one I am going to in November in Atlanta or Huntsville, and they're all not that far away. Huntsville's 12 hours for me, and the Atlanta one's 8 hours away, and the one in Orlando is 3 hours away. Um, Christopher, I'm a retired fire chief. I actually served in a number of different ranks and positions, but when I retired officially after 17 years of service, I was the chief of the small department that I worked for. Yeah, full time. Yeah, I spent most of my career as a lieutenant and then a captain. I ran my own station for years. Um, I loved running a shift, having a truck and some guys. I also was fully paid, but I ran the volunteer program, and I did a lot of the philanthropy stuff, like the volunteer funds and things like that. But yeah, yeah. Actually, I think you can see it. Let's see. I had all that stuff over the other night, and yeah, there it is. There's my studio, and you can see there on the left, right underneath my logo. There's my helmet and my hat and my trumpet from high school. We were talking about keepsakes and how it's important to keep things and keep physical things that meant something to you at some point in your life. And I had pulled those three items out to show everybody, and I stuck them up there on top of the refrigerator. So there you go. You guys can see that. But yeah, that's. I was the chief. Before that, I was the deputy chief. Before that, I was a captain for a short time. Before that, I was a lieutenant for like 10 years. And I was an engineer for a while before that, and of course, a firefighter. I even volunteered for 9 months before I was hired. Um, yeah, Yeah, I never actually held the rank of battalion chief. Our department wasn't that big. We had about 8 or 10 paid people and about 40 volunteers. So, yeah, I need to get some hats made. I got some little stickers made, but I'm not really happy with them. They're very cheap. I'm still going to give them out or whatever, but I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with them yet. Uh, no, the only new information I've seen on the LDS church shooting was that this guy was anti LDS, whatever that means. I guess he had some beef with the church, but not necessarily this specific church. Um, they say what happens in Vegas ends up on the internet, and boy, that's the truth. That is absolutely the truth. All right, so let me go switch back here to the other view. There you go. A fridge magnet. There we go. A Starship fridge magnet. Yeah. I don't really like the fridge right there, but I want it out here. I bought the smaller black one so I could stick it out here in the studio. I live here alone now, and there's just no sense in me going in the house every hour to fill my drink or to get a snack out of the fridge or something. Or when I get my dinner all cooked, uh, I would have to bring out here the ketchup and the sauces and whatever else I wanted. I just didn't want to do that anymore. I decided that I wanted to buy a smaller fridge and literally just put it out here so that I'm able to just get in and out of it real easy. So I went with one a, it's not a big fridge. It's not designed like for a full size house, but it's also not a college fridge. It's about half the size of a regular fridge, and I like that. It's perfect for me. And I got the big one in the house unplugged and wiped out, and it's just sitting in there with the doors open. Um, Works for me. Saved me a little bit of money too. I think that that protest in Portland, we're down to about 5 or 6 people there now. Hey Pam, you want the temporary stickers to go on there? I do. If I see you guys, um, I'm gonna see Heath. I'll give him some. But if I see you guys, or when I see you guys, I'll have some swag, little things. I don't have a lot. I got cards and things that got made, and now I've got the little stickers. You can see there's one right there on my cup. I thought they were going to be cut out, but they're not. They've got the white background all the way around them. So I don't know, but they do look nice. But they're just paper stickers. They're not. They can't go out in the rain or anything. So that kind of makes them to where they're not very useful. But I use them for stuff. I put them on my tripods and stuff, so I know they're mine. Um, hey Pam, how's it going? Let's see here. But what I'm going to do is, as far as picking out frequencies and doing a radio night, yes, going to do it. Um, what, how? Tell me how you guys want to do it, and we'll just do it. Um, I have. I can't do 40 meters here right now, but when I get back from my trip, I should have everything I need to do 40 meters. Um, So I don't know. I'm going to be set to do that. I can do 20 right now, but we could figure out a frequency one night and see if we can hear each other. But I'm going up to this ham fest. I'm going to take a little bit of money with me. I'm going to have. I I don't know, 600 or 800 bucks, and that I'm going to drop on a radio, maybe more. And I'm going to drop that on a radio that I can put in my car. Not permanent. It'll be one that I put in the car when I'm using it, and then when I'm not using it, it'll go in a case and go in the house or whatever. But I'm going to start doing POTA on the weekends, um, whether I'm down here or in the mountains. I'm going to start doing POTA, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up at the park, and I'm going to shoot the signs and arriving at the park, and I'm going to go back to making some more edited content if I can find the time. 80's always rough. 80's just a short frequency. 20 and 40 are your best bet. 20 is your most universal. That's the one most people have. Um, we probably should just, I mean, 20 is probably where we should try it. And besides, when we do the show at 9 p.m., 20 is still pretty much open. And the only other option that late, of course, would be 40. 30, not enough people can do. Okay, Dominic, I'm not buying a new one. It probably won't be brand new. I'm looking at stuff that's 3 to 5 years old. There's a lot of that kind of stuff up there. Um, yeah, I'm not spending. They want stupid mad money for these radios. They want $1,500 for these goddamn. I'm not spending that kind of money. I'm gonna buy one. I don't even care if it necessarily has a waterfall. I'd like one. I don't. I'd like it to have USB audio and USB control. Probably not going to get those two things, and that's okay. I'm looking mostly for an analog POTA rig. It needs to be 100 watts. It needs to be HF and 50. I don't need a shack in the box. I got plenty of VHF and UHF things. Um, a 710. Let's see. Oh, wow. That's a nice radio. That's a really nice radio. I could probably muster the 800 bucks. I mean, that's the radio I want right there. I think it's small enough to fit on the dashboard. It does have a USB plug on the back. It's a pretty nice little radio. I like that. Deploribus, I've got 4 Motorola speakers up here. I usually always connect to one of those Motorola speakers because they have the best audio, most robust audio. Well, that's really nice. I'm looking for the dimensions. I bet they're in here somewhere. It does have USB audio input output. There we go. It's 9 inches by 3 by 9 by 3.7. That's not too bad. It's a little bigger than I wanted, but you get that nice big screen. Well, there we go. Well, yes, let me yeah, we'll do it on 7200. Um, yep. So anyway, yeah, I know that I know that there's a lot of different ones that people are using out there, and I know that a lot of them are using the 7300. I want something nice. I'm sick of not having a radio that I can go do. I've got this beautiful 756 Pro 2 over here. It's this big. It's a brick. It's just huge, and I can't put it in the car. It takes 110 volts. Um, I need something I can use. I got the FT100, but it's not putting out anything but about a watt or two. The finals have gone out in it. I'm going to get that fixed, but I want something nicer than that. Even I want something I can put in the car, sit on the dashboard on a rubber pad, and go out and do POTA. I mean that's really what I want to do. The 7.2 is down. I'm showing it up with audio right now. I'll recycle it. All right, I just started it up again. It's been going for a few days, so yeah, I don't like the shack in the box. I like to keep the 5.2 up all the time. And I have had a Shack in the Box for a while, that the FT100, and I found myself I really never used the other stuff. There's a few times I used like VHF sideband. We were doing stuff 2 meter sideband, but I now have a 2 meter sideband rig over here that I bought at the swap shop for 30, 40 bucks. Um, it's a 2 meter all mode, and it puts out 50 watts. Oh, I don't feel good at all tonight. Yeah, I plan to do a lot of POTA once I get it going. All right, guys. Is there anything else? I'm not feeling well tonight, so I'm not. I don't think I'm going to quite do the full 2 hours. Is there anything else? Let me know if you guys have anything else you want to talk about tonight. Um, the storm is pulling away. Yeah, I had Mama Kitty in here at the beginning of the show, but I had to put her out because she's such a pain in the ass. I don't know if your mom is watching tonight. This is my missing girl. She missed feet up for 3 days. I thought she was dead, and I I called Carlotta this morning and said I can't find I can't find Shadow Lynn. It's been 3 days and I can't find her, and I don't know what's wrong with her, and what I don't- she seemed fine. So I wrote her off this morning. I called her up and said I think our cat's dead. I don't know. I can't find her. And she come wandering up this afternoon after 3 or 4 days of missing feet up. So I figured I'll bring her in tonight. Hi, Miss Shadow Lynn. I know you were sick. She kind of had some running out of her eyes and stuff when she showed up, and she was a little snotty. I listened to her lungs. She's a little congested too. So I think she had a cold or a flu. They'll do that. They'll go lay down somewhere for 2 or 3 days when they get the flu or something. Um, you seem to be doing a little better now. Yeah, you're talking a lot. Are you talking? This cat was pretty much feral when it showed up, and it's taken years. This cat used to bite you. If you pet it, it would bite you. But after all these years, she does good now. She lets me pet her. She loves me. Oh my God, here we go. They say cats can get COVID. I've had COVID 3 times really bad, and none of my cats got sick. I did have COVID 3.5, 4 weeks ago now, and she just got ill this week. So, or this like the end of last week. What'd you bite me for? You okay? I know you're not feeling right or something. Yeah, I can tell. But hey, you're still kicking. You're still kicking. I had to call your mom and tell her you were dead. Then I had to call her back and tell her you weren't. Oh God. Hey, I don't mind doing it, guys. I don't mind doing it. I like doing it. I think she's lost a few pounds. She's a huge cat, and I can actually feel a little bit of bones up here. So I think she's a little bit older too. Older cats, just like humans, begin to lose their muscle mass, and their bones will stick out a little easier when they haven't ate. Um, all right, guys, last call in the chat room. Is there anything else? Anything you want to say? You want to tell them where the hell you were for 4 days? She seems okay. She seems like she's dropped a pound or two, but but I mean, she doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with her. I felt all around her to see if there was any, cysts or injuries or anything. Nothing. Um, yeah. I was just telling him you were doing okay. That big old girl. Hey, you're a big old girl. I know. See, she's coughing. Hear that? That was a cough. Yeah. I can smell her a little bit. I think she's got a sinus infection. I think you got a sinus infection, big girl. You're tough. You're tough. You can handle it. All right. Well, guys, I guess that's it then. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow night, same time, same channel. I do have some time in the morning. I'm going to be coming in and working on posting and branding and also resetting all the streams and all that. So I'm doing all that in the morning. I don't know what's wrong with the 7.2. If it doesn't come up or it's not working tonight, I'm going to do a complete restart on the whole thing tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, a lot of this stuff will restart. I've got a couple that have been down for a few days. I got one computer over here I'm thinking about completely reinstalling Windows on because I'm having all kinds of weird problems with it. And I've got the same problems on it, the same programs that I've got on 5 other computers, and I'm not having the trouble on them. So I'm thinking about literally factory resetting that son of a bitch all the way back, and then go in and install and sign in and do all the bullshit you got to do to get it back to where it was. But we'll get there. All right, guys, we'll be watching for breaking news. I'm so glad you're still around. I wrote you off. All right, guys. We'll see you later, live from Starship Studios in North Fort Myers, Florida. My name is Ian, and this is the Sights and Sounds of Earth right here on Starship Adventures and our sister station, Starship After Dark. And on behalf of my co-host, Shadow Lynn, the presumed dead Shadow Lynn, and myself, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one. Be safe, 7-3s. We'll see you later. Good night.